Now let's enter the day-to-day transactions of the company. And in the day-to-day transactions, we have two kind of transactions. One is trading activity and the other one is the non-trading activity. So the differentiation is very simple. The trading activity is anything which is connected to the main course of business is the trading activity. For example, buying the inventory item, selling this inventory item, or packaging of this inventory item. All are connected to the trading activities. Now what is non-trading activity? Paying for the office furniture, because this is not connected to the main course of business, right? So purchasing for office furniture, the advance for rent, the security deposit for the shop, the paint and renovation expenses, all the other expenses which is not connected to the direct trade of the business is the non-trading activity. Now just remember that trading activities are all handled in the customer supplier sections. We have the proper area to enter the invoice, sales order, purchase, receipt payment, sale receipts, enter bills. While for the non-trading activities, since it is one-time transactions, we are not buying the furniture every day. So these kind of transactions might be entered by either journal entry, or we can even use these areas, but that depends or varies from business to business. So in that case where you want to enter it by these sections, you can only enter the vendor of it if you are purchasing from that particular vendor regularly. So there are different situations, but just remember that there is difference between trading and non-trading activity. Now the first transaction is purchase of furniture by giving cash. Now this furniture might be a one-time transaction. We are not buying furniture for our office every day. So it's a non-trading activity. Now what we have two options here in QuickBooks. Either what we can do is, some people enter it through write checks. They just enter the cash here. Under the bank account, we enter cash, and under the expenses category, they will write furniture here. You can also choose the asset accounts here. Although it's mentioned expenses, but you can enter any account here. So some people prefer it this way, but some people avoid this and directly enter it through journal entry. So both of the methods are fine. It depends on your company. Whatever they are following, you can follow that, because at the back end, the effect will be same. So let's enter this. As of 3rd of January, the transaction is furniture by giving cash. So let's write furniture here, and the amount is 200,000. And in the description, I'll just directly copy and paste this description here. Now to move to the second line, just press tab. It will automatically show the other entry on the credit side. We just have to mention cash, and that's it. Journal entry is done. Let's click on save and new, because the next one is also the non-trading activity, and which is advance rent paid for 6 months by giving cash. Now I don't know if you know the prepayments concept or not, but the prepayment it's actually an expense, but it's not expensed out yet. For example, if you have paid the advance rent for 6 months at the rate of 5,000 per month. So although the rent is an expense, but right now this is an advance that is kept by your building owner, right? So it's not expensed out yet. Only the portion of that particular month will be considered as an expense, and that's also after the month completion, not at the starting. So at this point, when we are paying for 6 months, it will be considered as a prepaid asset. And later on, when we consume that part, so only the portion will be converted to debit as an expense, and credit will be the prepaid rent. So if you want to gain more information on prepayments, just search for it online and you will definitely get more description about it. So this one is for 4th of January 2024, and let's mention the prepayments here. So let's write prepaid. We cannot find this one. So what we can do is just scroll down and search for another appropriate area if we already have a ledger. No, we don't. So I'll click on add new, and under the other types, I'll choose other current asset. And here we can also see that prepaid expenses is specially mentioned here, that we can categorize it in other current assets. That's perfect. Continue. Let's write here prepaid expenses, or you can simply write prepayments. Since this is not an opening balance, we are in the middle of the day-to-day transactions now. So there is no opening balance once you have finalized the trial balance. Just remember that. So save and close, and the amount will be 30,000 debit. And let's copy and paste the description here. Press tab, and it's also done by cash. So let's mention cash here. So we are done. Let's save and new. Next one we have is security deposit paid by shop taken on rent. So security deposit is what? Current asset or non-current asset? It's the other asset. It's not the fixed asset. It's not the current asset. It's other asset. Because the fixed asset nature is what is bought for a long term and it's not going to be exchanged in cash. So security deposit will be returned in future, right? It's in a liquid form, so it cannot be a fixed asset, because the fixed assets are furniture and equipment and machinery, you can say motor vehicles. It should not be the inventory part, but it should be the other supporting assets of the company. And what are current assets? Current assets are whose nature is by default less than 1 year and which is in very liquid form, like account receivable. You need to take these balances back from the customers, but it will surely and nearly be converted into cash. And same goes for inventory. You have this inventory right now, but soon it will be converted to cash, right? So it's current asset. It's current in nature. It's less than 1 year. But for the security deposit, it will be kept with the building owner for a couple of years, and it only be returned when you leave the shop. So let's write here security deposit. We don't have the ledger, so we can directly click on add new. And from here, I'll choose the other asset. Here it says here that security deposit paid will be considered as an other asset here. So that's perfect. Continue. And let's create a new ledger, security deposit. Can we enter any opening balances here? No. It will be a one-time job. When we create the opening trial balance, only at that point we will enter the opening balances. And save and close. And let's now put the balances. Copy and paste the description and put cash here. So debit, security deposit, and credit cash. Save and new. And the next one we have is paint and renovation expenses for shop taken on rent. Now it's not mentioned here either it's paid by cash or not, but since it is a small job, it's considered as it is paid by cash, because otherwise it would have mentioned the vendor details from which we took that services. So let's consider it as cash. So 6th of January, and let's mention paint and renovation. We surely wouldn't have that. So let's choose another category. Repair and maintenance. It can be categorized as repair and maintenance. Now remember, you don't need to create a separate account for every single expense or every single asset. If it can be categorized in a major category, then you can put it in that. So debit this. Now let's copy and paste the description here. Press tab, cash. So this is also done. Let's save and new. And we have entered all of our non-trading activities up till this point. From the next video, I'll show you how you can receive the payment from customers and enter all the trading activities afterwards. So just practice it by yourself until this point, and I'll see you in the next one.